Hi comrades, it's April the 9th, 2026, and I just thought, well, today I've set up Y class as a union. I'm sick to death of seeing my friends getting assaulted, harassed, abused by these fascists, and they are fascists. They're not left wing, they're just pretending to be. It's just an excuse to be abusive towards others, just because they're filming. Now, I've had enough of this. I'm not saying everywhere it's the same. Hull, if you noticed, fairly pretty okay. I didn't feel that, they were fine. And other places have been fine. But Sheffield, they were just fascists. They were disgusting people, just full of hatred. Now, I'm going to explain what I've done, what I'm going to do. Basically, I'm going to now comment on any abuse I see. I've had enough. It happened, as you might know, if you don't know, one of my friends, who's actually a lesbian, was filming in Manchester. Oops, sorry. So I'm walking the dogs as I'm doing this. Might have to start and stop as people pass. Now, there's lots of footage, so you can see from different angles. This bloke who clearly loses his temper, can't control his anger issues. Now, I've seen that. Normally you get that with people who beat up their wives. They can't control themselves. They get angry and feel like they have to punch somebody in the face. And he goes, and you can see it. It appears from the footage. It gives a good smack in the face because he's angry. Now, these people show themselves to be not left-wing because they lie. They claim that they support women and all this. And guess what they did? They protected him. They defended him. They went to court with him and sort of basically was blaming her. They actually blamed the victim. These are disgusting people, aren't they, folks? These are people who clearly, if they do that, then what else do they do? Do they justify blokes kicking the poop out their wives? Would that, if it's a left-wing person doing it, is it suddenly acceptable? I presume to these people it is. What else? Rape? What else? What else do these people accept? They're just disgusting. And then, was it a week or two ago, to prove that they supported this guy in London, they brought him on stage and said, look, this is a hero of us. He punches women in the face. That's what they were saying publicly. I can't control his anger. Good on him, beating up women. That's what we support. I mean, these are horrible people. Now, Sheffield was appalling. It was disgusting. I mean, we've had it before. I mean, I've told you in the past, there were them three, and I class them as perverts. I mean, one of them said he'd sue me. Still waiting for him to sue me. Still waiting. Fortunately, he knows damn well that I filmed everything, and what I point out is exactly what I've got on footage, so he can't deny it. If you don't know, this is when some of the troubles, I mean, the Leeds protesters have fairly been okay with us. In fact, they have. I've never had any violence from them. But these three turned up after months of me filming the Leeds protest. And for some reason, these three blokes, who are freaky looking, one has a bulby head, one's a big fat blob who can't stop smoking and was sweating, disgusting. The other's got these weird freaky ears. Now, for some reason, they felt that they developed this fascist ideology. They're pure fascists. They felt like they had to be there to assault us. And Fat Boy, and he admits it on camera, he came up to me and he just couldn't help to touch me up and push me over because he's a violent thug. That's fascism. Have I ever gone up and assaulted anyone? No. But he had the right to, he thought he had the right to touch me up because he's a fat pervert. And then later his freaky mate threatened me, I think, and then he came and pushed me, assaulted me, didn't he? You see it on camera. Because he's violent. These are violent people. They've got mental health problems with violence, fascism. they're just fascist. That's not left wing. They're literally not left wing. This is why I get annoyed when people say, oh, these are the lefties. Stop calling them lefties. You're justifying it. By calling them left wing, you're almost justifying them. Saying they're political. They're not, they're just fascist thugs. And what you saw in Sheffield, and by the way, these three, I mean, he came up to me again, was it in Liverpool, Fat Boy, that's when he said it. And you see them on the footage. They're following all the men around, hoping to touch them up. And he tried doing that with me, and I pointed out, I says, oh, you're just a pervert. And then because he knew I was correct, he got angry with me. I didn't care. It's just a dirty pervert. So now we've got, this is why I'm setting this, where we claim it's union, because go and assault one of us. Because I'm going to point out, no, and by the way, I'm not charging for this, all free. I'm not one of these big fat slobby union people who, you know, as far as I'm concerned, a lot of the trade unions just hate the working class, take subs off people a fortune so they can pay themselves 300k or whatever disgusting amount they pay themselves. And you know, these are the same trade unions that have destroyed all the businesses. We used to have things like the Mini, all sorts of great cars. No more, because the trade unions took over these companies and destroyed them. Absolutely disgraceful, end up going elsewhere. Mini should have been the pride of England. It was a fantastic car. I'm not on about the new BMW version. Oh, someone's coming, hang on. Oh, hang on, I can see her. Oh, it's like a young pup. Oh, hang on, we'll just walk, I'll chat in a minute. It's like Ember, this one, full of energy. But they haven't realised how nightmarish it is. Hang on, we'll just chat in a minute. I'll probably lose my track. Hang on. Oops. Hello. My mates has got one of them. They never get worn out.
No, they don't, do they?
No.
Full of energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We never, people think, oh, they get one. I mean, my mates is about 3 years, well, maybe 2 now, 2 or 3. Never wears out, just pulls my arm off. So at night, I take it to the park. Yeah, shoot, my mates does that. Is yours just a pup?
Yeah,
Oh, wait, it'll get worse. Yeah, just, that's, no, yeah, if you'd see my mates, you'll see what power she has. She zooms around, and you get tricked because you see all the nice blind dogs well behaved, and that's it. And then people don't realise. I mean, literally, I spend a day with her and I'm wrecked for the rest of the week. But hello, pup. Yeah. Come on, Miller. Like Ember, isn't it? Oh dear. It's like a small version of Ember. I don't think they realise what they've got their hands on. They have a shock when they see Ember, the power. I mean, that's literally Ember, but in a mini version. It's only a pup. Anyway, that's going off subject. If you see my video, you'll see Ember. Oh, what was it? What was I talking about? Yeah. So, you know, I'm literally sick to death of the abuse. And Sheffield was dreadful. Now, I've known Sheffield before. I've said it before. I've been there. You've seen it on the footage where I went, and it was just after they were finishing off the campsite, and I offered to clean up because what they did was, and I was fuming. I was very angry because they just left it a tip at the uni, and apparently they just put down fresh grass. So it was nice, but they didn't care about the students. They didn't care about the animals because I think I said to them, animals are going to get hurt, and they were laughing. They thought it was funny if the wildlife were going to get injured. That's how evil they are. And as I was there, one of them was a pervert and started filming my feet. He must have a foot fetish. And the other one, who we saw on Saturday, or Saturday, wasn't it? That old bloke, he was there. And a few of the female students have told me later that they felt very disturbed by him because he was staring at them in a bit of in a way that made them feel uncomfortable. It was very strange for him to be there. But Hang on, we'll just go and pass someone else now. Thought it would be busy. Hang on, we'll just go up here. Hang on. Hey. Cheers. There we go. Helps they had their headphones on so they don't hear what we're saying. It's less embarrassing. And so he was there. Now, we've experienced Sheffield. Sheffield is very bad for these thugs, these fascists, because you remember I filmed the Posey Parker thing and they were violent then. These aren't left-wing people, they're just thugs, horrible people. Oh, by the way, for those who don't know, the majority of YouTubers aren't that particularly political. They're probably not as left-wing as, or, you know, as, I don't know how you describe people. I mean, because they believe in freedom of speech, so technically they're probably more left-wing than these protesters. So, you know, in that regards. But you see, this is what I'm saying, I'm just jumping around here now. But the reality is these protesters who pretend to be left-wing are literally definition of fascists. They don't believe in freedom of speech. You saw them there at the protest. I wasn't going to go into it so soon, but you see them very angry, full of hate, and they try and prevent. They didn't stop the middle class people filming. You see people with the middle classes walking around freely. They ignored them. It was just us working class people they had a problem with, because they literally hate the working class. And they you see some try to block the camera with their flags, and others were going up to the police crying, going, they're filming, they shouldn't have human rights. Only middle class people should have human rights. And by the way, these are the same people who are trying to prevent another protest going on, and yet they'll get upset if their rights are taken from them. But they don't mind trying to take other people's rights, and by definition that's fascism. They just don't have any principles. And by the way, most of them who go, they're not there because people get confused. They're not there because they support the boat people. They're using them like they use everyone to make themselves look good by pretending to care. They couldn't care less about anyone. And didn't you notice how most of them were all white? They're 100% middle class. If you saw the London protest, 100% middle class. Every single time, you'll never see anyone working class on these. They'll cosplay at being working class, like that photographer who had his fetish mask on. I think what I've been told, it's a bit like puppy play, that it's like sort of, they like to go out in public with a mask on and it turns them on. Oh, someone else is coming. But I mean, again, the organisation he worked for is the same one that tried to ask people to dox me. They've removed it, but I've screen grabbed it, so they can't deny it. Embarrassed them, that did. They openly admitted they were fascists there. Hang on, I'm just waiting for people to run past. Oh, shush, Archer. Sorry. Just because you had to stop a second. Oh, what a moaner. We'll turn back in a minute. It's a bit windy, I don't know how bad it'll sound on the mic. But yeah, that's the organisation he worked for, an organisation that believes in trying to dox people, which again shows fascism, because that's trying to, you know, for someone who's supposed to be media, it's even more shocking. But when you're trying to close down other media by intimidation, by making people feel it's scared to death to do it, that's just it. That's full-on fascism. You know, that is pure. You can't get any further into fascism than that. But these people think they're left-wing. I mean, they're not. They're just horrible people. And you'll see that. I mean, this is another reason I'm setting this up, to call these people out. When they try and, condemn other people for filming, but it's okay for them to. Well, another people are coming. Again, hopefully this will make sense, because I'm sort of stopping and starting. Hang on. No probs. Here we go. Yeah, it doesn't make sense, does it? You know, when they're calling, and they do, and by the way, this is another thing, if you listen at Sheffield, one of the things they were doing, a woman says it, she shouts out, all the YouTubers are right-wing. Well, that's just bigoted, isn't it? I mean, if you think I'm right-wing, then you're stupid. You have to be an imbecile to call me right-wing in any format going. but these are stupid people. By the way, they are stupid because you have to be completely stupid to go to a protest to give publicity to people you apparently don't like or don't agree with, which is what they did. Because by going, it meant all the YouTubers went, and we only went to film these thickos acting up, which we all knew. And even the police knew it because the police were sounding them. There was an absolute huge amount of police because of these fascist thugs. You didn't see it anywhere else. Remember, we went to Hull, there were 2 police, both times, at most maybe 4, right? They weren't there. You know, and other places, Leeds, you see 2 or 3 police, but no, because of the absolute, and you'd be embarrassed by this. This is why you'd be humiliated if you claim to be left wing and gone there. You must realise that you are completely so viewed as scum that you're not left wing, that you have to have all them police there. And they were surrounding that lot. And by the way, Antifa were there because they waved a flag. And if you don't know who Antifa are, they're basically the modern version of the Hitler Youth. They're fascists who pretend to be anti-fascists. A lot of people claim to be anti-fascists, you'll find. They're very fascist in their views. And they do hate, I mean, most of these, they're all middle class who hate the working class. And that's all they're there for. They even say that. They stand there and say who they hate, which is weird. Now, you know, the other side, they were full of hate. They were just dancing around. You hear them, you see it. Most of the time, that's what they were doing. They were singing to some music. You know what I mean? And yet, these are the ones, these so-called left wing, they're just standing there saying, they're quoting actual Nazism. Full blown, and they're that thick they don't even realise it, or did they? I don't know. They're saying things like there's more of us than you, which is actually a Nazi philosophy, that because there's more of us, we outrank everyone, so whatever we do is correct. Well, you know, that's how you justify whatever crimes you want, by saying there's more of us. It means that the minority, who could be correct, is ignored and should be eliminated. And the other things they were doing, which is a German socialist 1930s technique, is the dehumanisation of the working class. You hear them calling people right wing and all sorts of names. They do this because that way they can literally assault people and kill them. That's why you saw Charlie Kirk being killed, and they don't see it being a problem. They still don't. They fully accept it. They were laughing about it afterwards. A lot of these so-called left-wing people, because they dehumanised him. They didn't see him as human. They saw him as somebody you could put in a gas chamber and kill. That's their philosophy. They're full-on fascists. You know, and again, you know, this is a cover when they go and say refugees are welcome here and all this. This is a cover for the hate. They don't believe in you. They don't care about them. They use them to propagate their own pretense that they're good people, to justify their pretense that they're good people. I wouldn't mind if they did support the boat people. At least then, you know, at least then they'd have credibility, but they don't. Most of them go because they just want to be full of hate, and you see the bitterness. You saw that woman with the she was full of hate, wasn't she, pointing at me, saying to the police, he shouldn't be filming, he shouldn't have human rights. Full of real disgust and hate. And then she was a fascist because of that, disgusting woman. And another woman, she starts pointing a camera at me, trying to intimidate me, which doesn't work. Because I always like to tell them the channel name, because then they can see themselves and realise what fascists they are. So I enjoy them knowing they're fascists and seeing themselves, and everyone's laughing at them and realising they're fascists, full on. And they'll go down in history as fascists, which they will do. If they think they're going to go down in history as good people, oh no, that's long gone. That's why a lot of the real left wing have left. You'll see your numbers are going down and down all the time on these groups, because people realise these are fascists they're with. And I've had people don't realise this. I get contacted a lot, and I get told that they agree with me. And they've left these groups and they've said, yeah, they're fascists. But these people are so up themselves because they think no one will ever contact me. Oh, it's starting to rain now, folks, so I don't know how long. So I do get told a lot. I get, people don't realise I know a lot about a lot of the protesters. I've got a lot of names and addresses. People just pass them on because they're not like people. I don't publish them, but I don't dox people. I'm close to it. I'm close to it after that assault on my friend. I'll be honest. But these people are, they do it all the time. They dox people. They're disgusting. Because that's what you do when you're a fascist. I don't want to go down this hatred of theirs. I don't want to match their hatred because then I'll become a fascist like them. And I refuse to be drawn into their fascism. So I'm just jumping down. And they hate it. In fact, one of the things they hate about me is that they know I'm actually more left-wing than them. Fully. I'm a decent, you know what I mean? I'm not full of hate like them. I don't pretend. I'm not here for fakery. I don't, put on a false show. I tell you guys how I feel, and I might change my mind some days, and maybe I'm a hypocrite over certain things, but I'm being honest with you. I try and give you as much information, which is what people don't like. They'll post things and they think I'm not going to reply, and then they suddenly have a shock when I give them a full explanation. I did this the other day. Somebody complained, thought they could slander me. And then I proved I had to give a good explanation, and they started crying because they were going, I was, harassing them in my post, and they said I'm blocking you because they knew I was correct, and they didn't expect me to come back and give them a good response. But I'm always prepared, so I'm prepared to give responses. And if you challenge me, you might be correct on things. This is the other thing. These people are so thick that they don't like us filming, but what happened, the moment they get assaulted, they're hoping we filmed it, so they've got evidence. And by the way, I haven't stopped anybody giving their views. They can come up to me at any time, both sides, and give their, whatever views they've got. I won't even interrupt, and I've done it. Whenever anyone comes up to me, I stop speaking as much as I can. Sometimes I challenge them. But I will stop and allow people to have their say. I'm not, and it goes out. Sometimes, this is the thing. I've challenged people on the nonsense when they say it's down to the enemy is the rich. Well, it isn't. The rich are creating jobs. So I fail to understand how the rich are the enemy. No one's yet explained that. They just keep coming out with the enemy is the rich who are creating jobs, and we want rid of them. So people don't have jobs, and apparently that's going to create a better society, which doesn't work for me. I don't understand that. I'm probably not that bright. I admit it, folks. I'm not an intelligent person. I'm not very bright. So you have to explain things to me. So if you're going to blame the rich, because as far as I'm concerned, the real enemy is all these fake middle-class people who pretend to be left-wing, who hate the working class, and just sit there, and all these MPs and political parties who have set themselves up, who, when you look at it, they're run by very wealthy people who pretend, it's all pretend. They all cosplay at pretending to be working class. I saw that there was a thing about which made me laugh. There was that guy who's the Green Party, it's starting to rain, I might have to stop soon. The Green Party deputy who was going on about, what's his name, Nigel Farage coming to Leeds. Well, first of all, he wasn't at the protest. So if we're that bothered, why didn't he turn up? He does turn up to some protests, but he couldn't be bothered. So he couldn't have been that bothered. And then his condemnation of Farage was, he's somebody who pretends to be working class. Well, hang about. This is the same guy who walks around in a flat cap pretending he's working class when he's clearly middle class. And he even said it in that middle class video, where his parents were fairly well off middle class. They made it out to be like 1940s, but this guy was born in the late 80s, I think. I think he was brought up in the 90s. So it's basically his life is a Nintendo life. He's a Nintendo kid. He's not some sort of kid from, the 1920s where they were making this video out to, and they were all these thicko middle-class thickies who were Green Party supporters going, is that inspirational? Oh gosh. They haven't worked it out that. I think his dad was worked on and he seemed a nice bloke. His parents sounded very middle class. And he worked in metal, what is it, where they melt metal, which I presume, I don't know if they still do it in Sheffield, it were famous for it. But I'd imagine in the 90s that was a very well paid job. So I can't imagine he's come from poverty. But this video trying to make out, I mean, maybe it wasn't very well paid, but my recollection was the 90s was things like that did pay well. It's not like the 60s or 70s where it wasn't paid well. Things changed after the 70s. And it did sound very much like he came from a middle class background. So it's all, and again, Jamie Corbyn, he's another one who pretends, you know, to me he cosplays as working class, as if you're supposed to think he's poor when he's a multi-millionaire, but it's reported, anyway, it's reported that, I don't know if he is. Oh, sorry, someone's coming. Hang on, sorry. It's pouring down now. Oh God, she's quite muscly, just run past. But she does all the marathons. I don't see any point in running, it's pointless. You can tell her mate that it has just started. Anyway, so just two women running past. I just took me by surprise how muscly she was, the one on the left. Normally runners are quite skinny, aren't they? Got quite thin legs, especially blokes, almost look like they're going to drop down dead, but anyway, I've got a feeling she's a rugby player or something. There's no way she just does running. Anyway, that's off. Fascinating now. Might ask her next time I see her. Oh, it is pouring down. So anyway, we'll leave it there. So I just thought I'd just do a brief introduction why I'm doing this. And I'm going to call people out. I've had enough. I've had enough of these fascists acting like thickos, thinking they've got the right. How dare they go around blocking people filming? You know, if you don't want to be filmed, don't go to these protests. It's a public event. And what, you know, I've been to protests and I pose for the camera. I've been on loads of animal rights ones. And you know what? I smiled and I loved it when the press were there. I used to pose for the camera. In fact, some of these idiots, when they try and intimidate me by photographing, you'll see me pose for them. I mean, they think it's intimidating. I mean, just ask me, I'll stand and pose all day long. It's no bother to me. I'm not bothered about being photographed. I love it. I don't know why these people have got... well, I know why, because they don't believe in the protest. If you don't believe in the protest, you don't want to be photographed. I mean, let's be honest, on Sheffield, they all left very early. They were only there about 40 minutes, most of them. They cleared off. They got a few pictures for their own social media sites and cleared off. They weren't interested. You know, they stood there, and then you saw a few just shouting abuse. I mean, what was it? I mean, by the way, you could see how much they hate the working class. So a woman, I think, called people who were working class amoebas or something. She shouted over and said, oh, everyone's amoeba who's working class or something. Just, you know, these people are full of hate. And by the way, for those who don't know, immigration isn't actually a left or right issue, because if you go back, and I think even today, some of the trade unions and some of the labour people are actually anti-immigration in the same way they're anti the EU, because they saw it as low in wages and things. So if you actually listen to quite a bit of Question Time, because I used to listen to it quite a bit, and I was always quite shocked how anti some of the labour people were and how anti some of the unions were of immigration, because they said we don't want it because of it's low in wages. And that's only a few years ago, we're not going back far. But, you know, they jump around, don't they? Whatever bandwagon it is. I mean, it's just... Oh, it stopped raining. They're a bit phony as far as I'm concerned. But, so, you know, these things aren't... When people are shouting, and I think they're from the... If I remember, there was a union there. Again, I don't like these unions. I mean, this is why I'm setting up one for the, you know, one for us. I'm going to represent, well, you know, I'm not representing anyone except myself really, but I'm just going to call it out. I mean, it'll be interesting because you just say, if you want to be a member of my union, you just say, yes, I'm a member, that's it, no cost. And it'll be funny then for all these lefties to embarrass themselves by calling members of my union names, because that will mean they're attacking trade unions, which will be going down really great. And I can't wait for the trade unions to start slating off my members. Good on you, try it, because that'll be an embarrassment, won't it? I've had enough of them. I mean, by the way, I don't give a rat's ass about press passes. That fetish boy in his fetish mask kept going round. Oh, wasn't it funny? These are the people who claim they hate the police. And one of them was stood in front. I think the police should have hit him with his baton if it was me. He stood literally inches from the police, calling his policeman all sorts of names. It was disgusting, saying all sorts about him. Vile man he was. And he thinks his left wing is just a nasty thug. But then they start running to the police, don't they, every minute, telling tales. That's all I saw them do. These people who were apparently pretending to hate the police spent most of that protest virtually every second running to the police telling tales to try and stop people filming or whatever. You know, fascists really. But these are the same people, you could tell, they'll have been bullied at school, and they were the same that had run to the teacher telling tales, going, please miss, you know, the snotty little so-and-so's no one liked. I mean, that's what a lot of the Antifa are, if you notice. They're just weak, pathetic, specky, four-eyes nerds who think they're tough in a group, and then suddenly we'll laugh at them. I mean, they're that pathetic that two lads went around filming them in their own, they had the building in Manchester, and they were so unintimidated that they went into a building of maybe 100 of these so-called Antifa, and were just laughing at them. That's how, you'd be embarrassed if you was one of them. You think, oh God, we are pathetic and embarrassment to society. But anyway, yes, comrades. But yeah, we'll start calling these idiots out. I've had enough of them. You want to start harassing people? Guess what's going to happen now? We'll call you all out. And I'm going to point out how fascist these are. And this is all I'm going to do on this channel and stuff. Just go through it all. Every time these fascists pop up and they think they're going to get away with it, we'll just point out they're fascists. And I know they don't like it. They're going, we're not really fascists. We're not. Yes, you are. You're just fascists. Welcome to fascist land. You know, but... and it is, I think they're doing it. And by the way, UKIP are coming to Leeds in a week or two. Gaines, all these thickos will be there. Because they're stupid. They're really stupid people. They'll turn up and and all the YouTubers will be going because they know they're turning up. And so the UKIP will get loads of views, millions of views, and no doubt gain support. And what a bunch of thickos. You see, anyone with any intelligence would have just, if you're against UKIP, you wouldn't go. You just let them be. They'd walk in Leeds, no one would notice. YouTubers wouldn't turn up. Zero publicity. But these people are so egotistical. They have to go, haven't they? They have to show the hatred of the working class who go and shout. But again, remember, these are the same people who cry if they were stopped from protesting. But again, if you stop a political party, intimidation, they think that's literal fascism. Guess, you know, you can't make it up how fascist these people are. I mean, is there anything these people don't do that isn't fascist? Again, they believe in trying to prevent other political parties. They believe in intimidating people. They believe in doxing people. They try and cancel people's social media accounts. I mean, it just goes on and on. I mean, that woman made me laugh. You know, the hatred you see in her face, and she's pointing to me, to the police. Again, probably the same person who pretends to hate the police, but running to the police straight away. You know, they're hypocrites. If they so hate the police, why run to the police? But they can't help it. They just don't have any principles, do they? Just vile. Ah, dear. Boy, oh boy. But there we go, folks. I mean, still, but this is what I'm going to do. This is why I've set this up, because I think it's time people had, you know, we've got to stop this. We've got to stop these fascists getting away with it. They've been doing it too long, and we've got to call it out. And, you know, it's not fair on the decent ones, you know, because, like I said, the ones in Hull, they were decent. You know, got on well with them. They were friendly. That's the difference. It's not fair on them. They get bad-mouthed as well. I mean, they were just a pantomime, let's be honest. They just went for both sides just to shout at each other, but... Oh, someone else is coming, hang on. Oh, shush, Miller. Sorry. Ignore her, she's an idiot. Oh, she's just showing off. Oh, and she's full of mud. How the heck have it... Oh, I'm not even going to question it. Might do your skin good anyway, covered in mud. Come on, silly girl. Oh well. Ah, dear. Oh, poor lambs. Being vegetarian, I just always panic in case. I just hope they're pets, that's all I can do. So when that day you see the field empty, you know, be vegetarian. But, no. The abuse though, people, I mean, when that woman said all YouTubers are right wing, I thought, you are disgusting. You really are full of hate. And this is the thing you notice, they really are full of hate. Very few of them are friendly. It's just the hate you see in their faces. It's very disturbing. It's almost, you can almost feel the heat of hate from them. And it is, and again, this is Sheffield. It seems to be particular. You don't, I didn't see it in Hull. Friendly as anything, you know. And a lot of places will just let me film. They're not bothered. But you just see sometimes, and I think it'll happen in Manchester again. When UKIP, I remember when UKIP was there ages ago, and Antifa weren't there, it was friendly. Oh, there was a bit of ding dong and everyone was, you know, a bit of pantomime, but quite honestly, nothing happened. There weren't that many police there, and at any stage, if they wanted to, they could have got it violent, both sides, and they didn't. They were just chanting and, you know, a bit of ding dong, calling each other names, so what? Just in a friendly way, having a giggle mostly. I mean, it's just a pantomime, you know, boo, boo type of thing. But then, when the next time Antifa were there, boy, you should have seen the violence. And in fact, last time when Britain First was there, oh, they were violent. And you can see it. You can see some people go for violence. They're not left-wing. They use this left-wing as a means to pretend that they're good people. It's a justification of their violence, their fascism. They're disgusting people. And they get upset because I point it out. And again, like them three freaks who came to Leeds, they didn't like it. I mean, we know they went for violence because, was it Nottingham? I don't think it was Nottingham, was it? Or was it? We went there for, was it Britain First or something? And that fat bloke asked me where Marty was. And he ran up to Marty and just punched him. You see him do it. It's on several cameras. He went there to physically... Oh, someone's there. Hang on. Oh. Hang on, we'll wait to get past here. There's a well-behaved dog. Come on then. Everyone else seems to... Oh, actually saying that. I was going to say everyone has well-behaved dogs, but... that wasn't well-behaved, was it? That mini Ember. I mean, it's alright, the little puppy version. they'll have a shock when he's bigger and pulling their arms out of the socket, and they're full of energy. So that's what you see, they get used to it, they get used to the little one, and then it grows bigger. You've got the suddenly muscle. Oh dear. We'll go, hang on. So we're just passing people there. Yeah. Oh yeah, as I was saying, he went there to specifically punch Marta. And they think they're good people. I mean, you know, what makes them good doing that? How are they better? They're worse, aren't they? You see, you can't be a better person if you go around assaulting people. That makes you a worse person. It was like in Nottingham. That freak in his weird little, I don't know if it was leather or whatever, a weird bloke. Not seen him since. Probably accumulated because it was clearly a moron. He thought he was a gangster. He said the Floppy Boys or something. I think he meant the three from Leeds. I didn't get what he was on about. I think it was his little pervy group. I think they're probably just some perverts who hang about together, go around molesting men. Again, nobody, you know, they get away with it because they're left wing. They like to touch up men, so he was getting turned on by that, wasn't he, folks? You saw him, it was just disgusting, man. But they think, and it's interesting how they're using this pretense of lean left wing so they can be worse people. They're not good people when they go around assaulting. I mean, I'll make this very clear. If you assault somebody, you're the worst person. You're not any better. You're worse than who you're assaulting. If you try and intimidate people, you're worse than them. You're not actually the good guys. You have to be completely, you know, at what stage do you think you're better than them? You know, how does that woman at the protest in Sheffield think she's better than the YouTubers when she's calling them far right and all sorts of degrading names? How is she thinking she's better than them? What, because she's middle class? Why isn't she calling her, you know, why is she allowing other middle class people to film, but she objects to the working class? See, this is what we see. These people aren't there for the working class. They hate the working class with a passion. I mean, they despise them. It makes them puke. They want us gassed in reality. And they've said it. I think one of them said they wanted us put in a cage or something. That's how she saw us. We were inhuman to her. So we should be caged. You hear that on the protest. We should be caged, because, and you know, presumably gassed, killed, exterminated, whatever the word is, because she doesn't, you know, her hatred for humans is that much. And these are the ones who claim to be left wing. No, my friends, disgusting. But yeah, we've all got to stop this. I mean, I hate going to these protests. I've said it. I'm only doing a few now. Just going to the odd one or two, just to show how poor these people behave. No, we've got to stop this. It's the enemy is really these people, I'd argue. It's not the rich, it's these people. They're the enemy of the working class. I mean, I've often said one of the true enemies of the working class are a lot of the trade unions. How they destroy companies, how they would, and they were, I mean, I think they're openly fascist. In fact, I don't know if they still have the same fascist mentality to the unions today. But in the past, and this is why people moved away from the unions and instantly voted Thatcher in, because they hated them that much for what they did. The unions would, and if you don't know, they'd, if you disagreed with them, they'd smash your house up and call you a scab and all sorts of things. That's fascism. That's why I've hated the unions. I'll never ever agree with the unions for that. I mean, anyone who went along with that is just disgusting fascist scum. And I'd be prepared, because I've been threatened by trade unions. I've been told that they'll kill me one day. I don't care. I'm not going to be scared by these fascists. I hope they do kill me, because then people will see what they like. I mean, we know they're haters, because I keep saying, when I went to Wakefield that time to that trade union thing, they wouldn't let me in because I was working class. They showed us the hatred. And I actually enjoy watching the hatred on these people's faces, exposing them, because they're not left wing. And it's good to point it out. And it's good people can see them for what they are. Bad people. Really bad. Oh, and talk about trade unions. Slightly off subject. There was an article, completely different subject, about blue badges. And they use one of the yellow, the canary. They do this thing where they use people. So they were using the disabled to make them sound good by going, ooh, why are people having a go at blue badge holders? There's only 5% of the country, which is about 3.6. I had to look how many are on blue badges using them. So we know by definition some of them people aren't using them who are genuine. And instead of just saying that, because it doesn't advantage, you look after the disabled by saying that some people are bad using them. It's not looking after the disabled by pretending everyone's genuine, because we know they're not. I mean, I'll give you an example. At the Leeds Uni, not Leeds Uni, at the Leeds pro-Palestine protest, there's a couple there who've got a blue badge, and yet they walk around for 2 hours on the protest. Well, they're clearly not difficult in walking, have they, folks? So but these are ex-teachers, I think they're union people. Disgusting. But it just sums up what the type of these people are. Horrible people using, you'd be embarrassed. If you was a true socialist, you wouldn't be using that blue badge, would you, folks? You'd say, no, only genuine people. That should go to people who can't walk far, or problems. Not people can walk around and basically use it, because what they do is they use it, and I think they use it to bring their union stuff. So it's basically using it for business, so they can park in town, making life nice and easy for them. I mean, it just sums them up, doesn't it? Horrible people. And she's also a criminal, by the way, because she been found guilty in court for damaging a flag. So she's got now a criminal record. So, these aren't nice people in any way. Horrible. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. God, I mean, I'm far from it. I'm a dreadful person. But I don't put on this same. I mean, one of the things I hope you don't realise is I don't do this to try and sound nice. I always tell people I'm a dreadful person. I'm not a good person anyway. But I'm not I'm not putting on a fakeness. So when people say, oh, you're not a good person, I go, yeah, I've never claimed to be one. Don't ever presume I'm some sort of nice person. I always tell people this. Don't presume it. I'm not. I'm a horrible person. Ooh. I just don't like the fakes. I don't, this is the difference between me and them. I admit that I'm a scumbag. But all these people like to try and pretend that they're decent people. And that's what I don't like. Admit you're a scumbag, and then at least that's, But you don't. You pretend to be good. It's all hidden. It's all fakery. I mean, all these people we're like London. They're all going, oh, this is a protest of love and compassion. It wasn't. It was full of hate. You saw it. It was far from love and niceness. These were, hiccuped up there. These were full of angry people of hate. And it's interesting. I mean, this is what I notice. A lot of these people who pretend to be left-wing, again, they're not left-wing. They're just really people of hate. Who are so full of hate, I think it's driving them nuts. And the only way they can stop feeling, they have to try and pretend other people are worse than them. That's why they go around calling everyone right-wing and stuff. They're basically mirroring their own beliefs. These are really horrible people who want other people to, they want to pretend others are bad so that they don't sound as bad. But in reality, they're just horrible people full of hate and anger. And that's what that lot of people in Sheffield were. They weren't left-wing. They were just people full of hate, anger for the humans. And they even said it. They were shouting out how much they hated others. And yet the other side, I'm not political on either side. I never heard it from them. They were just dancing, having a giggle. And you're thinking, oh, this is embarrassing. How do you justify that? How do you stand there and claim you're the good people when you're actually stood there shouting abuse. And they went, and you could just see it. And this is what I was doing. For about 2 hours, I was just fascinated watching the hatred of these people. That was it. I couldn't stop watching the hatred. Pure hatred. There was no kindness. It was just aggression. Anyway. Oh, sorry. Oh, God. Bit of material hit the mic. I don't know how bad that's. But it might have been quite bad all the way. Hopefully it hasn't. I didn't notice. Oh, and about the other thing, I cancelled my AA membership. It's gone from £9 or something to £24. And for those who don't know, when they came out, I was having to wait 4 hours. I was told they were going to bring the Vespa back to Leeds, and they didn't. And then I knew there was a bit of a problem with it. All they had to do was put it in a van. Somebody even offered to put it in a van for me for free. But they lied. They literally said it on the phone call. They had to apologise and send me £100 or something. Compensation wasn't worth it. And then they said, oh, we'll come back. And you know what they wanted to do? They dumped me at a shopping centre at McDonald's. I don't know if it's 24 hours, right? I'm a vegetarian, so that's kind of them. So I could smell all this horrible meat. And then they said, oh, we'll come, but it'll be another 12 hours. And you think I'm going to renew that? I'd rather, I think they've offered, I think it was £23 quote a month now. And I thought, I can get a van out privately for 150. Why would I pay £23 when I guarantee? I want a guarantee. If I break down, I want to be guaranteed taken home. Not this rubbish about, oh, they'll come out and you've got wait hours. No, I'm not paying £20 for that. That's just junk. So I just thought I'd mention that. Oh dear. Anyway, we'll leave it there, folks. I don't know if this is recorded. I did this the other day, actually. But I used the old SD card, which I'd forgotten. I put in the wrong SD card, and it was full. It might have recorded something, but I don't think it did, because it was the one I used for the Sheffield protest, and it filled up. And I'm surprised. It's the first time I've ever filled an SD card up. Oh, so I'm sniffing here. I don't know if I change the settings though. It might have a higher bit rate or something, so it might be bigger files. But anyway, lesson is next time take a set. I mean, I should take more than one card, but to be honest, since it's never happened before, I never bothered. But still, we've got a few things planned, folks. Got loads on. There's not enough time, and trouble is. Anyway, just me in there. So, I just started doing oh, some horses there. Well, they're lovely. Oh, aren't they? I haven't seen them in that field. Hang on, I'm just going to watch these horses. They're just running. They look like pedigree as well. You know, the ponies over there that I usually pass. Oh gosh, they are pedigrees, them. Oh, they're a bit upset themselves, them. Oh, they look like they've come out of a film. Not the scuff bags over the other side I chat to, covered in mud all the time. They're cute, though. Ponies, I think. Still. Oh, well, we'll leave it there, folks. As I say, I don't know if this is even recorded. Let me just see. I can tell you as let's see if the light's still on. Oh, it is. So I haven't messed up this time. Plus I charged the batteries up. So, as I say, this is just, I'm just doing this as a separate channel now. So if you go on, you'll see it's the one I used for shorts. I switched across to this. I was bored doing shorts on it, to be honest. I'm bored doing, to be honest, I'm getting a bit bored doing the YouTube things, to be honest, part of the time. But I think I just run out of energy. Hang on, is that a cat in front? Oh, it is as well. Don't think it's a fox. Is that a fox or a cat? So I don't know. I think it was a Might have been a bait. It can't have been a fox. I think it was a cat. Sometimes you can't tell. Anyway, we'll leave it there, folks. Bye.